The Lord is telling you to do it afraid. You don't have to do it in your own strength because the Lord Himself will go before you. He has not left you and He does not plan on leaving you. All He asks is for your obedience. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm excited to be here to share what the Lord has placed in my heart for you all. I hope this is an encouraging message to you all. And if you are new here, my name is Deborah. I make faith-based content here on YouTube every week. So just join the family so that we can build each other up and just learn from one another as we walk through this journey with Christ. As I was doing my Bible study, I came across this story in Judges. And I came across the story of Gideon and how God summoned him to war. Basically, he summoned him to defeat the Midianites because Israel was under their captivity. And so God meets Gideon in a place where he is hidden, where he is hiding away from the enemy. So from this context, you can already tell that Gideon was afraid. He was afraid of what the Midianites might do. He was afraid of the state of Israel. And so he was just minding his business, literally threshing the floor and doing what he had to do. And God met him in that place. And many times we may think that we don't have enough faith to take our next step. We don't have enough strength to go in the direction that God is calling us to. But it's so beautiful that in this story with Gideon, God tells him, go in the strength that you have. Because although Gideon did not see himself as a mighty warrior, that God called him, that's how he approached Gideon. Gideon was in fear. He was hiding away from the Midianite army. And yet God calls him out. You are a mighty warrior because God already saw him at his end. Because our circumstances don't define him, our limitations don't define him. Even our own self-view does not define what he calls us. And many times we are waiting for the moment that we feel ready, for the moment that we feel equipped. Yet God sent Gideon when he was afraid, and God knew that. And he still told him to go in the strength you have. Because why? He says, because I will be with you. Gideon was giving God all the excuses, all the things that we tell God. I'm not ready. I'm too young. My time has passed. Look at my history. Look at my family. All of these excuses. He said that his clan was the weakest and that he was the youngest. Yet in God's sight, he was a mighty warrior. So how about we start viewing ourselves or even asking God, who are we in his sight? And the word of God tells you who you are, that you are chosen, that you are a holy priesthood. There's so many things that God tells us about us in the Bible, and we should start paying attention to that. And what I specifically love about this story is you're seeing how Gideon's faith continues to grow and his confidence continues to grow. At the beginning, he was scared. He was afraid to fight the enemy. He was afraid to tear down the idols that Israel was worshiping. But little by little, you see Gideon's confidence growing. And I believe it's because of the experience that he had with God. God said a word and God came through with that word. He never left Gideon abandoned. He never left him to figure out what to do. But Gideon's dependence on the Lord was key because he did not make a move without God speaking to him first. So God gave him a word and he followed and obeyed that word, and he was victorious because of it. And so many times we are trying to do things in our own strength when God is just telling you, wait for my instruction, wait for me to tell you to go. And a lot of times we can try to figure out plan A, plan B, plan C, because just in case if this doesn't work, I have this to fall back on. But God just wants you to fully trust in him, to fully render your heart toward him, because that is where you'll see victory. And that is where you'll start to see your confidence in God and your trust in God begin to grow. So, from the very beginning, God is telling him you're going to be victorious, and this is going to be easy for you because first, God called him to it. Second, God is going to fight the battle for him. God just simply wants our obedience. And that's what I'm seeing throughout this story, throughout many stories in the Bible. We often think that once we say yes to God, now we have to figure it out. Now it's up to us. Now we have to do all the work. And yes, the work is to believe in God Himself. The work is to believe in His word and fully rely and trust in His word that surpasses our understanding. So we are not called to look at life and look at the situations we encounter with logic, with reasoning. We are called to look at the situation through God's sight. And if God called us to it, He will get us through it. Friend, stay encouraged because you can go read this story for yourself and you will see Gideon's confidence build. I want to point out this one when he was ready to attack the Midianites. He tells his army, the 300 men, he says, "Watch me," he said to them, "and do what I do." So Gideon is leading this army with confidence, with conviction. He knows that God is going to back him up. Was that the same Gideon when God called him? Not at all. You see a completely different man because as he walked in faith, as he listened to God, his confidence in himself grew. And sometimes we want to have external things to grow our confidence. We want to look better. We want to sound better. We want to know more. We want to build up all this knowledge. But the Bible tells us to grow in the knowledge of God. That is what will lead you to the destined place that God has for you. Not our book smart, not even how much we know and memorize Bible verses. It is in God's strength that He will lead us to where He wants us to go, and He will do it for us. That is the beautiful thing. Most times we think it's hard to say yes to God because we, again, fall into the mindset thinking that we have to do it moving forward. But God is saying, I am with you. I will be with you. And I am the one who will fight for you. I am the one who will win the victory for you. Even when Gideon was weak and he asked God time and time again to give him a sign. Let me make sure that this is you. God was not bothered with it. He complied with his request. And we have often a wrong view of God. We think that he just wants to tell us what to do and that's it. Like he'll just throw us in the lion's den. But God actually reasons with us. He listens to our request. It is not just a one-way command. He wants to talk. He wants you to come to him and tell him what's on your heart. So that is so encouraging to know that we serve a God that is open to conversation. He's not ready to just say, this is my will and this is my way, and that's the end of it. He's open for your thoughts. He's open to hear what you are asking of him. So don't be afraid to even go to God Himself and tell Him, hey, God, I'm afraid. I need you to confirm this for me. I need you to tell me that I'm on the right track. I've used silly little things. And when I wanted to know if I was in God's will, I remember I said I wanted to see a blue butterfly. And as I was walking outside, as I was minding my business, I saw a line of butterflies just in someone's lawn. And I'm like, oh my God, like, did I think God would listen to my little silly request? No, not at all. But God listens to what we care about. He wants to know what we have on our minds. It's not just a dictatorship. He wants that relationship and He will equip us as we go. So, friend, do it afraid. I don't know what it is that God is calling you to do. I don't know what your next step is. But as you seek instruction from the Lord, trust and believe. Learn from Gideon. Gideon, the scared, fearful little boy, was now a confident man leading an army and defeating the army. He made it to the hall of fame where all the people of faith were recognized for their faith and for their action and for their belief and trust in God. He made it to that place. Would he have ever thought that he would be known for his confidence in the Lord? I highly doubt it. And just like Gideon, we can be the same. We cannot fathom sometimes how God will take us to a certain place, or how we're going to reach this certain place, or when am I going to be confident enough, or when am I going to be ready enough. We don't see that. But take this story as an example and as an encouragement that God is fighting for you, that God is equipping you. He doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called. And take this message to heart. Go into your prayer room and speak to God. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I hope this encouraged you and it blessed you. Leave your thoughts in the comments. I love to connect with you guys, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.